My name is Sandro D'Orazio, and my presentation today is about the Interinstitutional Register of Delegated Acts. The idea of this presentation is to give you a state of play of the project. It's an update of the presentation that was done last year at the same conference, so status update, but don't worry, if you did not attend the presentation last year, you will be perfectly able to follow. So I will start with a bit of background legal information, where that project come from. In fact, the better regulation, the Register of Delegated Act is one of the concrete tools coming out of the interinstitutional agreement on better regulation. The goal behind this agreement is to make the legislative process of the European institution more transparent and accessible to the citizens. So, the agenda for this presentation is, I will start a recap of where we were last year, will be short, where we are now, what is next, and the lessons learned, which is how did we, what are the key success factors for this project. Okay, so short recap. The main goal of the project is to provide delegated act information at different stages of the life cycle. So delegated acts are a specific type of legislation produced by the three institutions where the European Commission is empowered by other institutions to legislate. So European Commission has legislative powers for these acts. So they are planned by the European Commission, there are expert groups meetings discussing on it, then they are adopted and transmitted to the Council and the European Parliament that have the right to object to the entry into force of the Delegated Act during what is called the scrutiny period. So the idea behind the Register of Delegated Act is to make this process more transparent for the citizens. So the goal is to present the information in a well-structured way. As you can see on this screenshot, we have a timeline showing the big steps of the production of Delegated Act process in a user-friendly way and accessible for the citizens which are not specialized in the EU legislative process. Goal of the tool is also to enhance transparency, make the planning of the Delegated Act easier, and enhance the traceability. So you can know everything that happened and you have a clear and transparent overview of the process of the production of the Delegated Act. Okay, so a slide about a bit about the architecture of the project. I'm sure you cannot read that, but don't worry, we will switch to the simplified version of the architecture. So basically, RegDel is an aggregator system. So it aggregates information coming from different other systems. So the system does not require any user input. So we have the systems of the three main institutions, so DIGITEC for the Commission, Agora for the Council, and ITER for the Parliaments, that are pushing information. They are notifying events occurring during the process of adoption of the Delegated Acts to RegDel. And the documents related to the Delegated Acts are made available by these different systems to the RegDel aggregator. We also, from RegDel, retrieve extra information from other systems, like RegEps, which is the register for expert groups. So this is in order to display the expert group part of the timeline. And we also have reference to external systems, like the Better Regulation portal, where citizens can give feedback on the Delegated Acts, and also on YourLex. On YourLex, you will find all the basic legislation allowing the Commission to produce these Delegated Acts. Okay. So where we were, so last year we were in test phase. So we had in place a test version of this Delegated Act-centric aggregator platform, already aggregating information coming from this side, Agora and ITER. Where we are now, in fact, we have achieved some major milestone. So the biggest milestone was end of 2017 with the successful rollout of production of the system. This was done, development was done in 1 year. We also have been working on new legislative act pages that went live this year. So where we show the parent level of the basic act. In fact, in order to be able to produce a basic act, you need to delegated act. Sorry, you need a basic act. The basic act scope the legislative framework in which the Commission is allowed to produce that piece of legislation. And we have also introduced deeper integration with Eurlex to show more details on legislative acts, reports on the use of power, and other features. So some statistics about the usage of the system. We have now 600 registered users. The system sends between 1,000 and 2,000 notifications every month, and these notifications are sent to citizens that registers that are interested in delegated acts and would like to be informed when a new delegated act is planned or is adopted or enters into force. And we have 4,000 visits per month in the delegated act details page. So, as I said, we want to improve the accessibility of the information for the citizens. So we also implemented a feature allowing to filter the delegated acts you're interested in and also to save these filters so you only see in the tool what you're interested in. We improved the accessibility and usability of the tool and also improved the delegated act timeline by adding more events. Okay, so what's next? So next we are integrating with DigiGrow system to integrate with the technical barriers to the trade events that will be coming from DigiGrow. We are doing some internal improvement of the tool for the corrigendum of delegated act because now they require some manual activities that we want to replace, and also we'll display the EP leading committees for legislative and delegated acts, and it would be gathered automatically from the system of the Parliament. And of course, the hot topic is the GDPR compliance, and we are also been working on making the tool compliant with the new version of the regulation. So now this is the time for the lesson learned, and I would say what made this project a success. And I will start by explaining you the governance, because it's an interinstitutional project, and it would not have been possible to achieve it without strong governance. And the governance is organized as follows. We have steering committee once per quarter. It's at head of unit and also director level. Takes place once per quarter and takes major decision and validates on the reporting and budgetary matters. So what is important and what was a key factor of success is the involvement of all institutions, strong involvement of all institutions, both at business and technical level. So it was really a collaboration between the business and the IT teams of all the institutions. And you can, this structure, you will find it also in the project core team. So the project core team is also interinstitutional team composed by the IT and business representative of the three institutions, and to discuss and prioritize major feature in the backlog and prepare the steering committees. And on top of this, internally at Digit, we organized a team using the agile methodology. So we had also frequent Scrum meetings with the project officer from the Secretariat General of the European Commission for the day-to-day prioritization of the backlog and development of the user stories, as we call them in the agile language. Okay, so the first lesson learned is that in order for interinstitutional project to work, you need strong involvement and really strong governance body. So the success was also greatly constrained by the legal obligation. So there was a legal obligation to have this in production by end of 2017. That was part of the better regulation interinstitutional agreement. So there was pressure on the project, but also it was This gives us the opportunity to have really strong involvement of the different institutions. The funding is also important for this project. So this project was funded by ISA as the goal is to increase the transparency of the legislative work of the institution for the citizens. We got funding by ISA. Okay, as I already mentioned, the communication between teams was really key, so both at business and technical level. What was a bit complicated with this project is the multi-institutional funding. Although it was not as much as the ISA funding, it increased a bit complexity of management at business level. Well, management, sorry, for the budgetary part. Of course, as always, the quality of the architecture and development team is fundamental. Here, we did not try to reinvent the wheel. We reused existing systems, existing solutions for integration, and we went for the solution that was also simpler to implement at all sites. And of course, the team involvement and commitment, without which you cannot, the project could not have been a success. So, and that's it for my presentation. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know, you said you have 600 registered users of the website. So what kind of people are they? Do you have information about what kind of groups of people subscribe?
Well, maybe I can give the word to Etienne on that. So Etienne is the project manager of RegDel, and it's good that we have also the team participating.
Good morning. So yes, out of those 600 users, good part is from the Commission, from the Council, and from the Parliament, but also regular citizens. And I would say for the most part, regular citizens. Okay. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah, if I understood correctly, this is should be information devoted to the citizens. Why do you require to register anybody? I mean, what do you need to register users?
Registers users are two kinds. So you have internal users of the three institutions. In fact, in RegDel you have two interfaces. You have the public interface, open for the public, and you have a private interface that is dedicated for the member of the three institutions. They can have access to more information and do more than normal citizens. The only reason for citizens to register would be if they want to be notified. That's the only reason why they would register. If they want to receive email notification when new act is published in the register, then they have to register and leave their email address.
But I understand that otherwise the information is publicly available. All delegated acts are public, of course.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
You can access them without any need to register.
Yes, you can access them without registering. Only if you want to receive notification, the system needs your email address, and then you have to register. Any other question? Okay. So I leave the floor to the next presentation. Thanks a lot for your attention.